Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you. This is a video I'm making coming off the heels of watching Assault and Battery 777's video. Basically, he made a video, hyping up the Dallas Super Show, and I thought he was crazy for that. I think he should be selling the Toronto show that he went to as being bigger and better than it was, maybe trying to surprise the people that forgot about it. But the video was just hyping up that maybe, this big Dallas show is a big hype to see what would WrestleMania be like there. If they're able to fill those stadiums with basically the home crowd, and then you can see, like, they could guess somebody basically how many people would come from other places to go there. And he said that his Toronto show, people in Toronto were sort of a fail, and he was basically guessing that that Dallas would sell out down there, just from Texas being a big wrestling state, so on. But it was released over a year ago. San Francisco was in the running to get WrestleMania. Brian Alvarez even went as far on the Figure 4 website to say that they were in the lead. But the reports that are coming out now, a couple weeks ago, was Toronto, Dallas, and St. Louis. So it looks like they're not even in the running now. The reason why I think you can already cross St. Louis off the map is that the word is out that they're getting the Royal Rumble. I don't think they're going to give them two pay-per-views back to back. I do think that the Rams dome that they play in down there would be a great place. St. Louis is a great wrestling town with a lot of NWA history there with Harley Race. So not going to cut them out of it too fast, but it might be a two-dog pony show right now with just Toronto and Dallas. And like Ravi said, this might be the thing that pulls them ahead. Going through the comments, because he asked people to leave comments on where they were going. Somebody caught my eye, and it's always thrown out there by people who live in the UK. The UK guys are big wrestling fans. Every time that they get a Raw and SmackDown tour over there, the shows are always great. The one that sticks out the most in my mind was just a couple years ago when Nexus went there. The first time Wade Barrett was on TV or at a show, since he got brought up to the main roster. Not the one time when he was the security guard kicking DX out, but that place was over. Like, it was as close to what you can think of Bizarro Land Canada is when the Heart Foundation would go there and they would show the heels. That place went crazy for Wade and all of Nexus, and that they showed up. They showed up big time. I also remember they gave chance to the lower card guys. Everybody was just happy to be there. I mean, it was the first time I think anybody had ever heard a Vladimir Kozlov chant, and since he's gone, I don't think we'll ever hear one ever again. But they always show up. They always pack the houses, and you can always go back to when they were able to get their own pay-per-views when they'd go over there for the one-night shows, pretty much. Rebellion and Insurrection. I was gonna show you those. I went to my shelf to get them, but for some reason I don't have those on DVD for some reason. Even though the Insurrection one with Ric Flair and Trish Stratus wearing that red dress was right there in my mind for some reason, but I guess I just don't own them. I'll have to pick those up somewhere along the way. But I honestly don't think that WrestleMania will ever go overseas. I don't think there's any way in the world that they will pack Wembley Stadium again. I think that what they did with SummerSlam '92 was a wonderful thing. They've said it's the second largest house they've ever had. They said that they got 93,000 for the WrestleMania 3 up there, and they said that it was over 80,000 in Wembley Stadium. And this was in '92 when they were sort of going through a decline in wrestling. It wasn't quite what '93 was, when basically everybody was jumping off ship. But the easiest answer is that if they were going to do a show there, they would more than likely do it at 8 o'clock. That's where the normal starting time for pay-per-views is 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock West time. If they were to go overseas and they would do it at 8 o'clock, that's so everybody that has to go to work would be able to get it off and be able to go there. Plus they have all the access festivities and everything like that. If it's 8 o'clock in the UK, that means it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast, which is like, hey, that's not that bad. What are you going to complain about? You just take the Sunday off. It's WrestleMania. That's a pretty big deal. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to go out of your way to watch it. So, maybe if you're in New York, if you're in Atlanta, anywhere along the coast, it's not going to be that big of a deal to you. But if you live on the West Coast, if you live in California, it's only noon. I know I get out of bed and everything like that, but honestly, I know like Freaking Yeah 88, Luke Cage, there's many times on Twitter they state they don't get out of bed till 1 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes when they have nothing going on. So are they really gonna want to get up and start their day in order for a pay per view to start exactly at noon? That's the one reason why I don't think they'll ever do it. When they did SummerSlam over there at Wembley, it was on a tape delay. They honestly filmed it a couple days ahead of time. I think they filmed it 2 days ahead to go on the let me think. It was on the 31st. I think they filmed it on the 29th, and then it actually, they brought it over and they edited it and they showed it on pay per view, and nobody really noticed. But I mean, it wasn't until years now that I never knew that. I didn't know that it was shot that way. I thought we got a live viewing of it, but I was listening to Meltzer on the Observer, and he was saying how he had the results almost a whole day before it aired, and that was basically just when you had, I guess you could fax the results if you really wanted to into them or something like that. But mainly the word just traveled through people talking on the phone, so on and so forth. People that were fans over there. I don't really think that anybody from the United States flew over there. I don't think wrestling was that big of a deal where it is like now, where everybody goes to WrestleMania no matter where it is. People from Japan and the UK, this, that, and the other. I don't think everybody flew there for SummerSlam. But that's just crazy that the way things are now, there's no way in the world they could do a tape delay. With Twitter and Facebook, and people would no doubt be doing live YouTube streams somehow, or somebody be sneaking in some way to get on JTV or Blog TV, this, that, and the other. There's no way in the world they're going to do anything that's going to hurt their buy rate just by somebody being able to view it on the internet. I know you can view a stream, this, that, and the other, but I mean, if you actually have the written results in front of you before the show even starts, why are you even going to bother to order the show? Especially if, like, they say you're like, I don't know, let's dream up what the main event for WrestleMania 29 could be. Let's just say on paper it's CM Punk against John Cena. And say you're a big John Cena fan and you see that CM Punk wins and he takes the title. Are you really going to want to sit through that match no matter how good people say it is if your guy lost? Just to say that you saw it? You might wait for it and you might pick it up on DVD if you're a DVD collector or something like that, but you're not going to throw down your $50 or $60, order it on, um, order it through your cable company and get it on pay per view. It just doesn't make sense. That's the one main reason. It is just that they would have to do some sort of a tape delay or something like that, just so that it would line up the times right so people could watch it here in the United States and it not be messed up. Because I'm not taking anything away from you guys, the UK Rampage or anything like that. You guys are rabid wrestling fans that, if it's a pay per view, you guys get it for free. Not knocking it at all. You guys have to stay up until basically, I think, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, something like that. I've talked to Sean Blockford about this many times, how he's, basically will take a earlier, I don't know, sleepy sleep time and wake up early in order to watch the show. And then basically after watching the pay per view, you go off on work and you start your day. That's just weird to me, starting your day with wrestling and then going to work. And because your day is probably so long, you come home and then you just fall asleep anyways. I mean, wrestling to me is like the entertainment I want to watch when I get home. I just don't want to watch it that way. And you guys are crazy for doing that. Some of you guys even stay up throughout the night and don't go to sleep until the show's over. So I give it up for you guys to being wrestling fans, but I just think because of the time change, this, that, and the other, you guys won't get WrestleMania. If you guys get your own pay-per-views again, you guys seem to like having, Raw and SmackDown. I'm fine with that. You guys make them as big as you can make them, but I just don't think you'll ever get anything like WrestleMania.